Love X Revenge. Welcome to the channel where intense love, shocking betrayals, unexpected twists, and life-changing encounters collide. Here you will find emotional stories inspired by real events and whispered legends, where ordinary people face extraordinary moments that test their hearts, courage, and destiny. All characters are over 18, and any resemblance to real people or events is purely coincidental. She had walked this road 1,000 times. Every dawn, before the sun fully woke, Maribel took the same narrow dirt path that curved behind the village and cut through the low hills. A metal bucket in one hand, a faded shawl around her shoulders, and the soft sound of roosters echoing behind her. The cow belonged to her aunt, but the milk kept Maribel's small household alive. It was a simple routine, predictable, almost comforting. Until that morning, the air felt wrong. Too quiet, no birds, no insects, not even the wind teasing the dry grass. Maribel noticed it but brushed the thought aside. She had learned long ago not to question small discomforts. Life hadn't been kind enough to allow superstition. Her boots crunched softly as she reached the narrow bend near the old fig tree. That was when she saw it. At first, her mind refused to understand what her eyes were seeing. A thick, coiled shape lay across the path, dark and glossy, unmoving. A snake. Large. Too large. Her breath caught in her throat as she froze, instinct screaming at her to run. Then it lifted its head. Maribel's knees nearly gave out. The snake had horns. Not imagined. Not shadows. Two distinct, curved protrusions rose from its head, catching the pale light of dawn. Its eyes were unblinking, ancient, and fixed directly on her. Fear surged through her like ice water. Legends whispered by old women flooded her mind, stories told by candlelight, always followed by nervous laughter. Horned serpents that guarded cursed land. Creatures that appeared before great misfortune. Or great change. She tried to step back, but her foot slid on loose dirt. The bucket clanged against the ground, the sound echoing far too loudly. The snake didn't strike. It didn't hiss. It simply watched her. And then, impossibly, it moved aside. Slowly, deliberately, the massive body uncoiled and slithered off the path, disappearing into the tall grass as if inviting her to pass. Maribel stood trembling for a long moment. Her heart pounded so hard it hurt. Every instinct told her to turn back, to run home and never speak of this again. But another feeling rose beneath the fear, anger. Fear had already stolen too much from her. She straightened her back, picked up the bucket, and walked past the spot where the serpent had been. Her legs shook with every step, but nothing happened. No bite, no curse, just silence. When she reached the cow, her hands were still trembling as she milked it. She kept glancing over her shoulder, expecting glowing eyes in the darkness. But the hills remained empty. By the time she returned to the village, the sun was up, and life had resumed its normal rhythm. Children laughed. Women swept their doorsteps. Men prepared for work. Everything looked the same. Maribel felt like she was the only one who had crossed into another world and come back. She didn't tell anyone, not at first, but that same day, a stranger arrived. A black car, so out of place it looked unreal, rolled slowly into the village and stopped near the central well. A tall man stepped out, dressed simply but carrying himself with quiet authority. He asked for Maribel by name. Her stomach tightened. No one ever came looking for her. The man introduced himself as Esteban. He said he was searching for land records, old family claims tied to the hills behind the village. The very hills where Maribel had seen the serpent. When he mentioned the fig tree, her blood ran cold. They talked, carefully at first, then more openly. Esteban explained that the land had once belonged to Maribel's grandfather before it was taken through deception and forged papers. Esteban worked for a legal foundation that specialized in reclaiming stolen property. Maribel laughed bitterly. Too late, she thought. Her grandfather was dead. Her parents were gone. She had nothing left to reclaim. But Esteban looked at her with an intensity that unsettled her. The law still recognizes blood, he said. And sometimes, destiny does too. Over the following weeks, Esteban stayed in the village. Papers were found, lies unraveled, powerful names surfaced, one of them belonging to Raphael, the man who had broken Maribel years ago. Raphael had promised her love, marriage, a future beyond the village. Then he left, married another woman, and used his influence to make sure Maribel's family lost everything when her grandfather fell ill. Seeing his name again reopened old wounds. But this time, Maribel didn't feel weak. The horned serpent appeared again. This time, in her dreams. It didn't frighten her anymore. It watched her the same way it had on the path, silent, patient, as if waiting for her to claim something. The court case moved faster than anyone expected. Evidence stacked up. Witnesses came forward. Raphael tried to intimidate her, offering money, then threats. Maribel refused to meet him. She had learned that some roads were only meant to be walked forward. When the ruling came, the land was returned to her. The hills, the fig tree, the path, and more. Raphael's reputation collapsed. His marriage crumbled under the weight of his lies. The village whispered his name now with the same caution they once reserved for Maribel. Revenge, she learned, didn't always require cruelty. Sometimes it was simply truth standing up at last. On the morning she signed the final documents, Maribel walked the old path again. Not for milk this time. Just to breathe. Near the fig tree, the grass rustled. The horned serpent emerged briefly, its massive body half hidden in the earth. It looked at her one last time, then slid away into the hills. She felt no fear, only gratitude. Esteban left soon after, but not before confessing that he admired her strength. They wrote to each other. Slowly, honestly, something real began to grow, not from desperation, but from respect. Maribel built a small dairy on her land. She hired women from the village. The path became busy with life again. Some nights, elders still whispered about the horned serpent, calling it an omen, a guardian, a curse. Maribel smiled when she heard those stories. Because she knew the truth. Sometimes, what we fear most appears only to test whether we are ready to stop walking with our head down. And when we finally do, when we face it without running, we discover that destiny has been waiting for us all along, coiled, silent, and powerful, ready to move aside and let us pass.